Good Friday morning, Saints. Once again, I'm going to congratulate you on making it to the end of another fabulous week. I hope that you're not suffering too much of a food coma. I know these episodes come out at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time every morning, and probably there's a majority of you that are still rolling out of bed come like 10 o'clock because of how much food that you ate. Hopefully not. I don't know. How much did you eat yesterday, Hayden?
Well, considering that yesterday is actually tomorrow, I'm guessing I'm probably going to eat a lot.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're filming on a Wednesday.
Yes. But nonetheless, God bless you for making it to the end of this week. But we've got quite the episode to send you into your weekend feeling good, refreshed, and looking at the world through a gospel lens. We're going to talk about why the Utah Mammoth is one of the greatest hockey teams of all time, besides just their play on the court, but their service to their community. Such dogs. And then we're going to talk about some creative elders that are opening up a barbershop and hopefully getting some baptisms because of it. Pretty epic. And in our featured story, it was prophesied by Jesus Christ in Matthew 24 that in the last days, the same sins that were in the days of Noah before the flood would abound on the earth. We're going to talk about maybe what some of those are and how we can avoid them like the absolute plague. All this and more. My name is Jackson Wayne Paul, and welcome to Latter Daily Saints. HP, you know what's happening in a week from now, bro?
I do know what's happening a week from now. I'm pumped about it. You guys know?
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned on the channel before, but our good friend Caleb Williams has made a phenomenal book called The Doctrines and the Mysteries. And anyone that's a fan of the Sick of Joseph YouTube channel know that that's basically a summation of everything that we talk about there, the doctrines and mysteries of God. And what he's done is compiled 48 very unique revelations, letters, things pertaining to 48 different important events in the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and has some phenomenal like medieval Christian illustrations that he does for each one. It's a phenomenal book. I've deepened my understanding of some intricate things that happened in the restoration. And on Friday, December 5th, we're going to be doing a live book launch event with a bunch of different YouTubers, guys like Jonah Barnes, Cardin Ellis, Dave Butler, Andrea Woodmansey, who else?
Yeah, we had to get special permission from the Provo police to let Jonah Barnes and Cardin.
Exactly, yeah.
So we got it, though, so they're going to be there. We got Andrea Woodmansey.
Caden Baylor from All Those in Favor.
It's going to be such a fun time. Our last one that we did up in Boise was just rowdy, and it was awesome. So if you guys want to come and join us and meet all these other guys, link in the description. Get your tickets. The ticket is just the cost of a book, and you're going to leave with a free book. So we hope to see you there. It's going to be fun.
Exactly. It's going to be amazing. Oh, one more caveat to that. It's associated with the fact that we are giving away 2 spots on an all-inclusive 10-day church history tour in July of 2026. We're going to be on that tour. Also, it's going to be led by Mike Day, Dr. Mike Day, that you, if you've watched the Stick of Joseph YouTube channel, know that he is a wealth of knowledge, and it's going to be awesome. So 1 book equals 1 entry, and if you buy a ticket to our live event, that equals 2 entries. Winner will be announced January 1st on a Stick of Joseph live stream. But Hayden, we're going to start off today's show actually from a message from one of the most baller up-and-coming Latter-day Saint content creators called Salty Saints. Our boy, his name is also Hayden. Hayden
Is it
Holm.
really Hayden?
Exactly.
Dude, we have so many Haydens.
We
got Hayden, whatever his last name is.
Hayden Holm, I think. Yeah.
Hayden Holm. We got Hayden
Carroll,
whatever his last name is, and then me, Hayden.
Exactly.
Are there any more?
Probably.
We need less of them. There's only enough for 3 of us.
Yeah,
or 1
exactly.
Or 2 of us.
But he runs an account called Salty Saints, and I saw him do these little news updates, and so I asked him to make one specific for Latter-day Saints to be featured here. And so I haven't watched this. Hayden hasn't watched this. We're going to be reacting to it live. But Hayden, take it away for us, brother.
We do not condone anything that is said in this next video.
Yeah, we might cut it out.
New article came out listing the top 50 most popular anti-Mormon influencers. In a puzzling bit of ranking, Alyssa Grenfell came in at number 28, while her nose ring came in at number 3. Analysts are stunned. In other news, life coach and popular voice for disobeying the commands of the church, Dr. John DeLynn, was told by church lawyers to change his brand due to trademark issues. In a stunning turn of events, DeLynn responded by immediately obeying the commands of the church. And finally, living up to her self-proclaimed truther title, popular anti-Mormon influencer Haley Rowley discussed a groundbreaking study revealing that poor sleep is bad for mental health. Rumor has it that future videos will discuss other newly discovered mental dangers, such as doom scrolling, hard drugs, and not breathing. Trauma coaches are reportedly taking notes.
Oh my gosh. That was hilarious.
Good highlight there, Hayden. God bless you. So you'll be seeing more of his stuff every once in a while on Latter-day Saints. Go follow him, Salty Saints. But our first episode, I hope it puts a smile on your face as big as it did for me. But the Utah Mammoth, first of all, they've been killing it. The other day I went to the Las Vegas Knights game, and having lost to them the week prior, we put the whoop on them. But I came across this article of them just going and making some kids' days. If you scroll down here, Hayden, on the Deseret News, it basically says, photo gallery, Utah Mammoth share early Thanksgiving joy with young primary children's kids. So you got our boy.
That's a pretty sick mascot. That's the first time I've seen the Mammoth mascot, but he's cool.
What's his name? Mammy? Oh, Tusky. Tusky. I'm Mammy.
With Buddy the Elf, it looks like.
Exactly. All right, scroll down there a little bit more.
Okay.
We got our boy Michael Carcone probably, Alexander Kerfoot. All these guys, a lot of them are not Americans, but God bless them anyways. They can skate like some gods.
Skate. What are they mostly? Are they, like where is the country where people
Scandinavians? Oh, but you got our boy Keller, number 9. Look at this beast.
What's up with Keller? What makes him your boy?
Clayton Keller, you see that C on his chest? That means captain. He's a leader.
Captain. He's a baller.
He's a leader of nations, and he's been playing phenomenal lately. But anyways, if you've ever met any NHL guys, which I've had the opportunity to meet a couple of them, you would not even know that they are like celebrities or like famous athletes. They're some of the most down-to-earth guys ever that just love slapping a puck around on the ice.
I feel like when it comes to hockey and even football's still a little bit less, but I've heard the NBA guys are the most, like, they're the biggest jerks of all the professional sports.
Who knows?
Because you see their face. With hockey, it's like you don't see their face. Like you could be a huge fan, and if you don't follow it other than watching the games, you're not even going to know who your favorite player looks like. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I don't know if you've had any interactions with famous sports players. Tell us if you've had some good or positive ones, or maybe some not so negative ones. But God bless you guys for following the Christian admonition to serve thy neighbor and to love thy neighbor. That was really cool to see. But moving on to our next headline. This is awesome. Also, it comes from an awesome channel. If you scroll up to the top, Hayden, this channel is called Moroni Channel, Latter-day Saints online source. And if you follow them on Instagram, you know that they post some amazing Latter-day Saint content and some really cool breaking news happening in the Latter-day Saint hexagon, as Brandon says. But the title says, Christian missionaries find an unlikely way to serve free haircuts. And if you scroll down, it says,
the way you read that made it seem like they found an unlikely way to serve free haircuts. Like they're doing something weird to give free haircuts.
Yes, but it is an unlikely way. It says, on quiet afternoons in the courtyard of a small Latter-day Saint chapel, 2 young missionaries set up a folding chair, a pair of clippers, and a simple hand-painted sign offering something that has become unexpectedly popular in the coastal Queensland town, free haircuts. Elder Thomas Thorne, 20, and Elder Cody Forbes, 18, both from Utah, have spent the past 3 months serving in Bundaberg. Where is that?
It's in Australia, and I know that because there's a drink called Bundaberg, and they're really good.
Ooh.
You've had one before.
Ooh, is that the ginger beer?
Yeah, the ginger beer stuff.
It's actually really good. Bundaberg, please sponsor us. Bundaberg, as part of their 2-year missions of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they spend most of their days visiting neighbors, teaching lessons and faith and volunteering in the community. But their most visible act of service, and the one drawing the most attention, is their offer of no-cost trims for anyone who needs one. The idea began on the Gold Coast, where Elder Thorne first learned to cut hair from a former missionary companion. He had grown up with home care haircuts from his father and had never been to a barbershop himself. When he arrived in Australia, he saw how costly haircuts could be. He said, the decision came naturally. If I need a haircut and it's expensive, there must be others who can't afford one. So why not do what I can? God bless you, Elder.
He just gives a bunch of haircuts and that's a great way. I remember on my mission, I would always take, whenever I would get haircuts, it was an opportunity to teach someone a lesson, whether they liked it or not.
They didn't like it, I'll tell you.
Sometimes they liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes. But no, that's super interesting. First off, I knew a couple elders in my mission that cut their own hair or cut each other's hair. Looked pretty rough. Some nasty fades, and not in the good kind nasty. But hopefully they're not just leaving people with ski-wampus heads walking around town in Bundaberg. But that's a really creative way. Missionaries, your mission is supposed to be fun. Go be creative, find creative ways to find people that are searching for the gospel, because I promise the more that you act like normal people and do normal fun things, people are going to be attracted to hear your message. And as you engrave the countenance of Jesus Christ on you, they'll see something's different. They'll start asking questions, and normal, natural conversations will be had that I think will ultimately end up in more people getting to know the restored gospel of Jesus Christ. So I'm curious, anyone in the comments, leave it in the comments or send us an email at latterdailysaints@gmail.com of some creative ways that you've been able to either preach the gospel or that you've seen missionaries take advantage of their different gifts and talents to teach the gospel. I'd love to highlight them just like these elders here. God bless you.
Did you have any creative ways that you taught on your mission?
I mean, we did a couple different things, but I think one of my favorite things to do is I had a really charismatic Brazilian companion one time that we would be knocking doors, and I would lean my hand over the top of the door frame with a Book of Mormon in it. And we'd be talking and stuff. And my arm's long enough that I'm far enough away from the door that it's not weird. But we'd be talking and having a good conversation. And then when they would kind of ask why we're here, then my companion is like, we came to give you a message about a book that almost quite literally fell from heaven. And then then I drop the Book of Mormon and he'd catch it. And then he'd be like, have you heard of the Book of Mormon before? And they would always laugh and be like, what? And just fun, creative things like that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. We play soccer a lot. I don't know. Do you have any?
Nah, I mean, we taught English, and then one time we had this sister missionary who's a really good artist. So we went to the store and bought a bunch of chalk, and she drew out a really cool plan of salvation in the town square that was massive. And what we'd do is we'd take people through the plan of salvation. So we'd have all the companionships there, and we'd be like, hey, can we teach you about something? And we'd walk from thing to thing talking about the plan of salvation. Wow. And it was actually pretty sick.
That's awesome. Yeah. Missionaries, go be normal, use your talents, preach the gospel. Amazing, elders. Keep giving some gnarly fades. All right, moving into our featured story. Okay, this is interesting, okay? Let's click on this link here. All right, if you scroll up to the top there, this news headline says, OnlyFans star preaches to university students as professor says manifestation worked. And then the subtitle, Hayden, if you don't scroll past, it says, OnlyFans star Ari Kushishi responded to backlash in an exclusive statement to Fox News Digital. All right, so I'm just going to read this for you, and then we're going to talk about it. It says, a University of Washington professor invited social media personality and OnlyFans star Ari Kristisa to speak to her students last week, a decision that was defended by both the professor and university in statements to Fox News Digital. Dr. Nicole McNichols, that's awesome, teaches Psych 210, the diversity of human sexuality at the university, and noted the adult content personality understandably sparks mixed reactions in her Instagram post touting the visit on November 17th.
I will say, when I saw it was a Psych 210 class, I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're just talking about how unwell for your psyche it is to be a part of OnlyFans.
Yeah, how damaging it is for your psyche. But no. It says, our manifestation worked, McNichols posted to Instagram. Yesterday, my class had the chance to hear from in all caps, Ari Christissa, someone who understandably sparks mixed reactions, but whose voice and lived experience are essential in any honest conversation about sexuality, labor, and the realities of today's digital landscape.
Whenever I hear lived experience, I immediately just turn off. I don't know about you.
It's cringe. And then here's where it just goes off the rails, bro. It says, much of commercial pornography still portrays women in unrealistic, scripted, and at times even non-consensual scenarios. OnlyFans, by contrast, often features real people with real bodies creating content on their own terms. Wow. Doesn't that just make it so empowering? That just takes all the sinister nature out of it. That's amazing. Wow, that's so amazing.
You can prostitute yourself from your own home. You don't have to become like, whatever, go to another place. You can just do it yourself with your real body.
Instead of being pimped out by someone, you can pimp yourself out on the internet. It says OnlyFans is a subscription-based platform that many amateur porn stars and adult content creators use to cultivate an audience and share X-rated content directly to subscribers referred to as fans. But I don't want to read. Let's see. Go down. There was one other thing that I wanted to. It says, when I was asked by Dr. Okay, this is the OnlyFans model talking. When I was asked by Dr. Nicole McNichols to speak at her upper division psychology lecture, I was immediately intrigued. Speaking about what the sex industry is like and the dangers it comes with is something I am very transparent about on my social media. A lot of people are curious about what a creator's life is like, how we got there, and what being an OnlyFans creator actually entails. I took this unprecedented opportunity to speak candidly about my experience going through my professional career, my personal life, and reality of the sex industry. So, unless she deleted her OnlyFans after doing this, I can't imagine that she shared things that would dissuade others from doing the same kind of things that she does. What do you think?
I think that, she says something right here. Let me read it real quick. I wasn't there to teach she says later on, I wasn't there to teach anybody any facts. I stated at the beginning that these are only my opinions and experiences. It doesn't mean that what I'm saying is right or wrong, or that my experiences would be the same as anybody else in the industry. I love what I do, and my hope was to simply share my experience in the industry. So, if she loves what she does, then it seems like they got someone to come and essentially, I'm not saying that she was there to persuade people to be OnlyFans models, but, when she's raving about what she's doing, and honestly, the amount of money that these women make is insane. Like, you can make $5 million a month from your OnlyFans subscribers. So I can't imagine that many women walked away from that class having a worse view of what OnlyFans really is.
If they have any level of spiritual discernment, I hope that that's the message that was conveyed, right? But it's just really, really concerning how again, I haven't been to college, okay? I went to high school and then joined the Marine Corps, and I called it good. That's some life education for me. But I've heard many stories of just pornography and things like OnlyFans. Not that they were being encouraged, but they were being educated to the college students in a way that was concerning, to say the least. For example, about 3 years ago, my brother-in-law, who was going to Westminster at the time, he was signing up for classes, and he came across one film class that was like, what the heck is this? Is this real? And then he took a screenshot of the class description, and it got tweeted out to, I think, Senator Mike Lee, and then went all over. Candace Owens tweeted about it and stuff. And it was a class about pornography. And I'll just show you the headline. Actually, if we scroll down, we're just going to read the class description here. Okay, scroll up. Okay, right here. Okay, this is a screenshot from their website. It says, Film 3000, porn, 2 credits. You get 2 credits for this one, okay?
For it.
It says, hardcore pornography is as American as apple pie and more popular than Sunday night football. Our approach to this billion-dollar industry is as both a cultural phenomenon that reflects and reinforces sexual inequalities, but holds the potential to challenge sexual and gender norms. And as an art form that requires serious contemplation, we will watch pornographic films together and discuss the sexualization of race, class, and gender, and as an experimental, radical art form.
That's crazy.
Is that not the most depraved thing that you have ever heard of in your life? How would you feel if you saved up all your life for your child's college tuition and you find out that they're taking a porn class in college? They're paying money for that.
Oh my gosh, dude. And the thing that's sad is that a lot of those statements aren't wrong. More popular than Sunday night football. Unfortunately, it is more popular. And that's the thing is, like, I know it's our initial thing to criticize the girls very heavily, and I'm not saying that that's wrong either. What I'm saying is the reason they do it, one of the reasons they do it, is because they make a bunch of money.
There's a high demand.
There's a high demand. And so as long as there is this massive demand, there are going to be people that are willing to debase themselves and others to be able to make that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so since when this whole controversy came out and a bunch of people started tweeting about it, Westminster, to my knowledge, has gotten rid of the class, but they have another film class that the description is a little bit strange, but I'll let you go and do your own research on that. So hearing about these OnlyFans models being invited to give lectures at universities and all this other depravity that's happening in the world reminds me of an apocryphal account that I became aware of after I read Jonah Barnes's book, The Lost Gems of Genesis. And in this book, basically the premise is that there's a lot of extra biblical texts that give a little bit more context to things that not only we find in the Bible, the Genesis account, but that vindicate things that are added in Joseph Smith's Pearl of Great Price, Moses. So to give a little context of what we're going to go over here, we have some scenes from the days just before the flood, and we have descendants of Abel and Seth living on the mountains, and they are the priesthood holders, the righteous followers of God. And then you have the seed of Cain, the posterity of Cain, that live in the valley, and we're going to see a little bit more of what their behavior was and some things that happened that drew some of the priesthood holders, the righteous descendants of Abel and Seth, down from the mountain to ultimately fall into the same sins that the children of Cain were committing. And so here's an account to kind of describe the behavior of the children of Cain from an apocryphal account called the Kebra Nagast. It says, "Nay, the seed of Cain ate and they drank and they danced and they played upon stringed instruments and sang lewd songs thereunto. And they worked uncleanliness without law, without measure, and without rule." And then going on to the next page, we have a little bit of commentary and then kind of what happened when the priesthood holders that lived on top of the mountain saw these acts. It says, "The scene below must have been paralyzingly captivating to the priesthood holders on the mountainside. The people below committed fornication in the presence of each other shamelessly. Satan was thrilled to find opportunity in this work of error, and he rejoiced greatly at the prospect of corrupting the sons of God. The prince of lies in front and center, actively pushing things along. The sons of Seth looked as unclean spirits entered into the women and took possession of them." End quote. Looking turned to lusting. And then it says, gives a portion that is written in another apocryphal account called the Book of Treasures. And it says, "And when they saw that the daughters of Cain were beautiful in form and that they were naked and unashamed, the children of Seth became inflamed with the fire of lust." And then further down in the Egyptian Life apocryphal text, it says, "And the children of Seth kept on gathering together on the top of the mountain to look upon the children of Cain from morning until evening, and upon what they did, upon their beautiful dresses and ornaments." And then down here it says, "In the revelation concerning Adam, Joseph proclaims something that would have sounded strange in 1830 Protestant America. The daughters of thy sons have sold themselves, for behold, mine anger is kindled against the Son of Men. What kind of strange world would have women and girls in it who willfully sell themselves? Only fanatics, that's a good pun, Jonah, would do that, right? Joseph is conjuring up some dark, unimaginable scene when women and girls voluntarily prostitute themselves. Phew, glad we don't live in a world with that kind of degeneracy." So there's an interesting phrase in Matthew 24 that talks about how in the last days of the coming of the Son of Man will be the same as in the days of Noah. And it talks about how they'll be eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, and kind of the same iniquities that abounded in the time of Noah. And it's just so interesting to see that. And I was talking to a friend the other day, talking about how in some ways it looks like the world has just become more and more degenerate and iniquitous, but the sins are just taking different forms, right? Like we were talking about UFC fights and stuff, and how people used to go to a coliseum to watch people kill each other, and like all these other crazy iniquities and stuff.
How much longer do you think before we get to that point? You know what I mean?
I don't know, because it kind of, if you think about it, Hollywood has kind of filled that gap so that people don't have to necessarily indulge in it. Obviously, there's some people
in real murder, they just watch murder and indulge in it by fake murder on TV and movies. Exactly.
And so here's the thing. People just need Jesus, bro. People just need Jesus. And it's unfortunate that people that partake in these things like the sex worker industry, the prostitute industry, are put on pedestals because they make so much money, and they're championed as people that are courageous and, you know, doing an honest day's work and things like that. And people that have the Spirit of God with them, I think, can easily discern how twisted that is, and how that is directly what Isaiah was talking about when people would call good evil and evil good. And it's so on its face evil, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when I was reading Lost Gems of Genesis before it came out. I was reading that section about the antediluvians, which just means people before the flood.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, there's very little on it. It says they were filled with violence and sin, and that's about it. It doesn't get into the
But, what warranted a complete cleansing of the earth, dude?
No, what warranted that?
That's insane.
So in that book, and we just read a section of it, but in that book, he talks about things that were going on, such as abortion was huge. People were castrating themselves. Not castrating themselves. They were making themselves infertile so that they could just have sex without consequence. Mm-hmm. And way more stuff. But I remember reading it and seeing these apocryphal accounts that kind of get more into it. And I'm like, oh, crap. They were just doing the same things that are being perpetrated today. Mm-hmm. Like that Lost Gems of Genesis book was seriously a huge wake-up call to me to be like, man, we are really going off the rails.
Mm-hmm. And so, look, I know talking about this stuff can make you lose a little bit of hope in humanity, but I hope it actually just lights a further unquenchable fire in you to stand for Jesus Christ and to preach his glorious gospel, because we read in the Book of Mormon that the preaching of the word has a greater effect over the hearts of men than the sword or anything else. And so maybe we should try the virtue of the word of God, as Alma says in Alma 31. Mm-hmm. But anyways, Hayden, do you have something to?
Yeah, I have something. I just thought, we could end with something. We went so dark real quick, and I was just thinking, what could the internet give us that is good? And so here's a kitten drinking milk. That's super cute.
Wow, Hayden.
That's why the internet really started, was for things like that, not OnlyFans. So,
Goodness, how Satan knows how to just pollute the beautiful, wonderful tools that we have in our lives. Mm-hmm. But anyways, tell me what your thoughts are, okay? Are we done for? Or do we just need to do a better job at preaching the word of Jesus Christ? Who knows? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to get a copy of The Lost Gems of Genesis, we'll leave a link in the description to Plain and Precious Publishing, our publishing company. And remember, until next time, if you're not looking at the world through a gospel lens, you're only getting half the story. God bless you.